Good morning, afternoon or evening from whenever or wherever you are watching this video from. I am Jack Adamas, back on the 20th of September. Like I said, I will be to review last weekend's games and my predictions. And just to let you know, at the end of this video today, because we have Champions League tonight, I will be predicting two of the games in the Champions League. So let's start with Wolves versus Liverpool on Saturday afternoon at 12:30. This really was the old saying of a game of two halves, with Wolves getting the much better of the first half, taking the lead after just 7 minutes, and Pedro Neto playing like prime Eden Hazard on that left wing at points in that first half. You know, you had Kuna, who missed an absolute sitter. You know, I just feel personally like he was stuck in between two minds and he jumped a bit early, but I know he's getting a lot of stick for that miss. Then in the second half, Liverpool come out and they grinded out the result like I said they would. You know, it does help when you've got players like Diaz and Nunes to come off the bench. I will hold my hands up and apologise for my bet of the day. I did say that Liverpool will win 2-0 and that Mo Salah will score at any time. Obviously, that didn't happen, but Mo Salah did get 2 assists and they did win 3-1. So I do apologise, and I'm sorry if anybody did put their money on that bet. But remember, do bet responsibly. So with my final thing on this game, I will say that I got 1 point for the correct result, but not the 3 points for the correct score. We then move on to Aston Villa at home to Crystal Palace. I mean, this game really did have a bit of everything. It had offside goals, VAR calls, 2 goals in injury time, and the screamer. I mean, it did finish 3-1 to Villa, but one thing I will say, Palace fans, is, you know, now at the moment you do have Edouard, who scored 4 goals in his last 5 games. You have been missing out on a striker for the last few seasons, so hopefully for you guys he does come strong and this continues for the rest of the season. Aston Villa, I mean, Duran, what a hit. I mean, he takes it on his chest, one bounce, bang. No goalkeeper in the world is saving that to make it 1-1. Then there was a harsh penalty decision. I feel like Richards, if you watch it carefully, he does touch the ball first, then he goes through the player. I do get that, but he does touch the ball first, goes through the player, and then gets the ball again. I believe it shouldn't have counted, however it did. Obviously, there's VAR controversy every week in the Premier League. Douglas Luiz, 98th minute penalty, makes it 2-1, and then in 90+11, Aston Villa go and make it 3-1. I predicted for this game, I predicted a 2-1 for Aston Villa. I was nearly right again. I got the correct result, but not the correct score. So it's another point for me this weekend in that game. Next up, we have Fulham versus Luton at Craven Cottage. This game obviously finished 1-0 to Fulham. Although on another day, it could have easily been more. Or on another day, it could have easily been a draw. And I'll explain why. First of all, Fulham did have way more possession, 78% possession on the day, and they had way more chances. But out of the two teams, you would say Luton had more of the threatening chances. I mean, in the first half, great cross in. Jacob Brown gets on the end of it with a header, hits the post. That could have easily been 1-0 to Luton. Then moving into the second half, Amari Bell gets a great ball across the box. Unfortunately, he just passes it back towards Leno rather than shooting in the corner. If it goes in the corner, it's guaranteed a goal. And then not long after that, Carlos Vinicius came off the bench, goes down the other end, scores a goal, makes it 1-0 to Fulham. I mean, he's probably going to start looking towards getting a start now rather than coming off the bench. Jimenez has been doing well for Fulham, but can't find the back of the net. So maybe Carlos Vinicius is knocking on Marco Silva's door and saying, "Boss, can I get a start?" We'll have to wait and see. I did predict 2-0 for this game. It did finish 1-0. Again, running theme here. I've got the correct result, but not the correct score. So another point for me out of 3. Following on from Fulham versus Luton, we then move to Manchester United versus Brighton. Now, I will be the first person to say I was wrong, because I did predict 1-0 to Man United. However, I didn't. Following on from Fulham versus Luton, we then go to Manchester United versus Brighton. Now, this game did obviously finish 3-1, which I was clearly wrong about. However, in my defence, I will say I was very surprised with the result, but I wasn't very surprised with the performance, as I did say that Brighton will have a lot more possession and a lot more shots. they just wouldn't be able to find the back of the net. Clearly on the day they did. So it did finish 3-1 to Brighton. I mean, 10 shots in a game, 8 on target is prolific from any team. Man United, what can I say about United? They just look a show of themselves at the moment. Not saying that they won't turn it around, because I really believe they will. I mean, I felt a bit sorry for Højlund. Obviously, it would have been his first goal, but it was the correct decision. The ball clearly did go out of play, but I did feel sorry for him in the sense that I really wanted him to get his first goal. We've got Pablo Gross, great finish from him. Danny Welbeck obviously coming back to haunt Man United. The last thing I do want to mention about this game, though, is I have seen people on social media moaning. I'm guessing it's Man United fans. They're moaning that Hannibal cheered too much when he scored. I mean, guys, give the kid a break. I don't see a problem with it. He's just scored his first goal for your club, so obviously it's a big moment for him. It's outside the box. It's a good finish, and he's just trying to get the crowd to back the team to go on. I mean, if you go on and draw 3-3, you know, everyone's going to start saying, look at this kid's passion for the club. So just give him a bit of a break. And on that, sorry to end it on a bit of a bad note, but I just thought I'll just say that, my opinion on that. I did predict Man United to win 1-0. The game did finish 3-1, so I got zilch points. Up we have Spurs versus Sheffield United, which finished 2-1 with a crazy game with 2 late injury time goals for Spurs, which I will get into. First of all, I want to talk about ifs and maybes. In the first half at 0-0, I believe Maddison gets fouled for a penalty. Referee doesn't give it. VAR doesn't give it. I mean, I don't know why they didn't give it. They said it wasn't clear and obvious. I believe it was clear and obvious. But anyway, that's another story. Let's talk about what actually happened. Harmer with a great finish with his weaker foot. I mean, he looks like a great player for Sheffield United. Good signing from Coventry this summer. I'm happy for Richarlison. He's got his goal and his assist. He looked happy after he got it as well, because I feel like he has had some weight on his shoulders lifted now from that. The atmosphere in that game looked electric. That's all I will say. And, you know, I'm not, like I've said, I'm not Spurs' biggest fan, but I'm starting to like Spurs. And I'd hate to say it, because my friend's going to, like, hate me for it and he's going to wind me up about it. But they're actually playing really good football at the moment. They're playing to the end whistle. They are not missing Kane at all. I mean, Spurs look like a different team. And Ange Postecoglou, I said it right this time on the first one, not the second time. I mean, he's so articulate in the way he speaks. I'm really starting to like him and Spurs, which I'm not happy to say. But anyway, cut a long story short, I did predict it to be 3-0 to Spurs, and it finished 2-1 to Spurs. I got 1 point there for the correct result. Also on Saturday, we had West Ham versus Man City. Now, this game did finish 3-1 to Man City with one-sided traffic. I mean, I did expect more from West Ham. I did expect them to put up more of a fight. That is not a diss towards West Ham. That is a compliment towards West Ham with the form they've been in lately. Haaland, I mean, he got on the score sheet, which is like a norm nowadays, so there's nothing really to talk about there. I think what we should talk about, which is more of a talking point, is his 2 sitters he missed. I mean, the first one, what a sitter. He normally puts those away in his sleep, but he didn't. On another day, he would have had a hat-trick, but obviously he only got the 1 goal there. One thing I do want to talk about Man City is Jeremy Doku. What a player he looks. I am one of these people that says give them time. Let's not judge someone off the first few games. But he's come in. He's fitted right in that City system. He gets the ball. He just wants to run at defences. I mean, he looks like what a player he looks like. One thing I will say, I was warned by people, don't hate and all that. But one thing I will say is, how much longer does James Ward-Prowse need to be in this form before he gets an England call-up? I mean, come on, Southgate. I know I've been told, people have told me, don't question people, don't dig at people, but I will dig at Southgate. James Ward-Prowse needs to start for England, okay? Please, let's just please put him in the England team. The form he's in, I've been saying it since he's played for Southampton. This is not new for me. If you know me, you know I'm one of his biggest fans. The guy is a great player. Please, just put him in the team, Southgate. Don't muck about. And on that, sorry, just a little rant from me. I did get a point in this game because I did predict 2-1 to Man City. It ended in 3-1 to Man City. So again, running theme here. Correct result, not correct score. We then move on to the last game on Saturday, 5:30, Newcastle versus Brentford. It was a bit of a boring game. Finished 1-0 to Newcastle. Good news for the Geordies. that Newcastle did end their 3-game losing streak, although when you look at it, they did lose to Brighton away, Liverpool at home and Man City away, which are obviously 3 hard games. But obviously if you're trying to push for Champions League football, you do need to get some points there. But, you know, people were making it out worse than it was. This is a game of quite a lot of talking points, actually, of yes and no's and ifs and maybes, and VAR calls getting it wrong again. I mean, for me, Wilson's first goal should have counted. I don't see him foul on the goalkeeper at all. I think the goalkeeper's gone in a bit weak and he's just bought the foul there. I think that should have been 1-0 to Newcastle. Then we go on to the penalty for Gordon, which I don't think should have been a penalty. I think he's bought the foul. He's turned his back into the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's just gone in. A bit silly from him, because obviously if you commit like that, the attacker is always going to buy the foul there. So that was. But one thing I did like about this game, and the main thing I did like about this game, is they did overrule that second penalty, which was, if was given, I felt would have been really unfair on Brentford. I mean, what do you want the guy to do? Do you know what I mean? He can't do much. Don't really have much more to say on this game, sorry. Apart from I predicted it to be 2-2. It obviously finished 1-0, so therefore 0 points again for me, which is my second 0 points this weekend. Not very happy about that one. We then move on to Sunday, where we had Bournemouth at home to Chelsea. It obviously finished 0-0. I mean, it is now 1:57 p.m. on Wednesday the 20th, and if Chelsea was still playing, they probably still wouldn't have scored. I just don't know why. They just can't score. They do everything but score, Chelsea. But, you know, I know it's pointing out the obvious, but as soon as they start scoring, their season will turn around. I believe at some point it will come. They have got players, you know, Jackson, Sterling, these players will start scoring soon. So hold on, Chelsea, don't worry. It's not all doom and gloom. Eventually you'll turn it around, I believe. I hope you don't, but I believe you will. Bournemouth, again, could have got a snatch and grab. They didn't play bad, you know, they played very well themselves. They were very well organised front to back. I mean, the manager's come under a bit of scrutiny this season because he's obviously new, quite young, but he's doing a decent job there. I know they haven't won a game yet in the league, but he is picking up points here and there. I think that is back-to-back points against West London clubs, Bournemouth, yeah, it is. And the 2 games they've lost are Liverpool and Spurs, so, you know, it's not all doom and gloom for them as well. That's about it for the game. Sorry, guys, I don't really have much to say on it. The game did finish 0-0. I predicted half right. I did predict that Chelsea will have all the possession, all the shots, but they just can't score. Although I did say they'll score twice. I don't know what I was thinking. That finished 0-0. I predicted 2-1. So again, that's a 0 points for me. We then move on to the second to last game of the weekend, which was 4:30 kickoff Super Sunday, Everton versus Arsenal, which clearly finished. We then move on to the second to last game of the weekend, which was 4:30 kickoff, Everton hosting Arsenal at Goodison Park. The game finished 1-0. I mean, there was a bit of controversy with the offside goal in the first half. Eddie from Martinelli, obviously Eddie Nketiah being offside. At the time, I was adamant he wasn't offside. Looking back at it now and watching it, he is offside because Beto doesn't deliberately try to clear the ball. He ends up clearing the ball by just trying to intercept the pass. I don't think it's deliberate. I mean, if the game did end up in a draw, then obviously I reckon it'll be more of a talking point. But obviously, as Arsenal went on to win, I think that they just kind of brushed this one under the carpet. Martinelli obviously went off injured, which is not good for Arsenal fans. However, Arteta's now come out yesterday and said that he's only out for a fortnight, which is good news. Trossard, great finish. I mean, again, Trossard, I feel like he's a bit underrated. You know, he's not underrated, he's not overrated. People just see him as a player. But I mean, for Martinelli to go off and to have someone of Trossard's ability to come on, good finish from him off the post with the winner. I feel like with the 2 weeks that Martinelli's out, they've got a more than capable replacement with Trossard. Everton, a bit more doomy and gloomy for them. They're looking a bit like they're going to struggle this season quite badly. Obviously, they've struggled for the last few years, but they do pick up results here and there. This season, it just looks like they're just not going to pick up any points. Obviously, I'm not saying they're not going to get any points. They clearly will at some point. But at the moment, I can't see where the points are coming from. I'll have to look into the fixtures to see the next few games. But it's not all doom and gloom, obviously. It's still early on. It's only 5 games into the season, so they have more than enough time to turn it around. I did predict a 3-0 win for Arsenal. It did finish 1-0 to Arsenal, so a point, correct result, not the correct score. And lastly, we move on to the last game of game week 5, which was Monday Night Football. Forest at home to Burnley. The game did finish 1-1, which maybe in the end was the correct result. Callum Hudson-Odoi with a fantastic finish on his debut. Big goal. It was a big goal, big finish. I mean, on his debut as well. Goal of the weekend to you, Callum. But the major talking point about this game is another week, another poor VAR decision. Now, they make it up as they go along. I'm sure they do. Because they say that if the ball hits you on your shoulder, on your sleeve, which is roughly about here, then it's not handball. Now, Sander Berg's running through. He controls it with his arm barely, but it's about here. Now, he's clearly not handballed it, but they've said and they've ruled it as deliberate handball. Now, I am not a Burnley fan, but I am a football fan at the end of the day, so I'm passionate, and they are ruining football because at the end of the season, if Burnley are fighting relegation and they go down by a point, then think those 2 points that they've missed out on because of that decision has cost them their place in the Premier League, which is the best league in the world. So, which everyone throws out, which I am a fan of. I do believe the Premier League is the best league in the world, obviously. However, our officiating is not the best. That is the problem. So that's where I have a problem with the Premier League. That's another story. I'll save that for another video one day. But yeah, so Burnley were absolutely robbed in my opinion. I mean, clearly not handball, and then it just spirals from there. So now Lyle Foster goes and gets a red card as well. He's obviously their top goal scorer this season. He's now going to miss out on 3 games. Does he make that stupid and rash elbow to the defender if they're winning 2-1? Probably not, because he's just scored a goal, so he's probably over the moon. He's probably just thinking, oh, don't worry. Obviously, he just had a goal ruled out. Defender's obviously nagging him wherever he's bang, he's elbowed him. So now it just spirals out of control. I mean, VAR is ruining the Premier League. The main thing about this whole game is I'm surprised how calm Company was about the whole situation. I mean, he's there. He said it was the right call and stuff. If that was me, I would have been livid. I would have been ranting I would have still been ranting now. I'm ranting now. I'm not even a Burnley fan or player. So yeah. Anyway, I'll leave my VAR opinions and that for another video, a special one-off video one day, because honestly, I could talk about it for hours. I'll bring on a special guest for that one as well. The game did finish 1-1. I predicted 1-1. Whee! Finally, my first 3 points. So I got 3 points because I got the correct score there. So this week wasn't the best week, wasn't the worst week. I finished with 9 points out of 30, although I did get 7 correct results, as they say. So 7 out of 10, not too bad. I mean, not a lot of people would have predicted the Man United one. The Chelsea one was probably quite predictable. Some people probably did predict that. And the Newcastle one, same thing. So that was just me trying to think outside the box. Thank you so much if you're here at the end of my video. Honestly, why would you ruin my video? Thank you so much if you're still here at the end of my video. I really do appreciate it. I really love the support, and I've loved the feedback from everybody. Please give me feedback. I've been told some constructive criticism for my first video. I hope I've taken that on board and I've shown you it in this video. Also, please follow, share, like, subscribe. I'm going to post all of my socials in the bottom of this video, so you'll be able to follow me on other platforms. Thank you so much. I did say I was going to end this video with the predictions of tonight's Champions League game. So I'm going to predict the Arsenal game and the Chelsea game. Oh yeah, Chelsea aren't in the Champions League. I'm going to predict the Arsenal game and the Man United game. I'm going to go for both 2-0. Bayern Munich to win 2-0. I think a lot of people think that Man United will get battered today. I can't see. I just think they'll hold their own today. I don't think they'll lose. but it won't be a battering as such. And then I'm going to go for Arsenal to win 2-0. Saka to score at any time. I don't know the odds on that. I will check it. Please, if you do listen to my predictions and stuff, please bet responsibly. That's it from me. Thank you. I really appreciate it if you're still here. And just always remember, if you don't shoot, you can't score.